Wait till the next generation. Wait till the next generation. Wait till the next generation.
That's what they've been saying, you
Wait
see.
till the next generation.
There you'll find.
The night where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now or forever hold your peace. There's a night where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
The father of Kendrick Johnson. We are here today to address the findings of Sheriff Ashley Paulk. They said Brian Bell, the target, never crossed paths. I ask you to do your research, to look at the documentary, look at the F.B.I. report. It said they did cross paths. Secondly, I'd like to make a comment about this is why we don't trust anything that the sheriff of Valdosta said that anything ever come out their mouth.
Your child was murdered, and there's nothing else we can do about it. One thing we kept hearing over and over again was about this missing F.B.I. report regarding the security tape hard drive and the blacked out footage. So we looked into finding that report to see if we could locate it, and we did. However, the report was heavily redacted. But then we were able to find the unredacted FBI report, and what we discovered blew us away. You see, in the redacted report, you can barely see any of the video frames. Most of the frames are blacked out, and the ones with KJ are barely recognizable. In the unredacted report, we were able to see all the video frames in full color. The report follows KJ, Brian, and Brandon's movement throughout the school for the entire day and records where they were. Not only is this further video evidence that the Bell boys were on campus when KJ went missing, we found something that the FBI clearly didn't want us to see. Let us put them side by side so you can see what we found. Here they are. Can you see something a little odd? Look closely. There appears to be a frame on both pages that matches. How could this be? What tipped us off is KJ's yellow folder. We were going through Brian's movements and all of a sudden, KJ's folder appeared on screen. That's right. There's a frame on KJ's side and Brian's side that is identical. The boys are standing seemingly right next to each other in the hallway.
Did you see Kendrick that day?
No. I did not.
Seeing the alleged killer of KJ standing next to him in the hallway the day he died in school has sent chills down our spines. How did no one see this frame? How did the FBI let this go? Why did it take 6 years and an independent filmmaker to find this? These are all questions that may never go answered. But what we do know for sure is that we have more facts now than we ever had. And this case needs to be reopened and re-examined with a fine-tooth comb.
I know when to shut up, because when the father say, let me hold the mic, it's time for an hold the mic. Give it up for Mr. John. Squire Jones. Sheriff Prime. You all stood there and told me and my wife 2 different ways that my son was found. Do you remember that?
Do you remember?
One day, you come out one way and say my son was found. The very next day, you came out and say he was another way. Which way was it? I'm not going by hearsay. I'm not going by Facebook. I'm telling you what you told me. You said it out of your mouth. How my son was found dead the first time. You came back the next day, said another. How can you get it wrong? You couldn't get it mixed up because you was there.
Your child was murdered, and there's nothing else we can do about it. One thing we kept hearing over and over again was about this missing F.B.I. report regarding the security tape hard drive and the blacked out footage. So we looked into finding that report to see if we could locate it, and we did. However, the report was heavily redacted. But then we were able to find the unredacted FBI report, and what we discovered blew us away. You see, in the redacted report, you can barely see any of the video frames. Most of the frames are blacked out, and the ones with KJ are barely recognizable. In the unredacted report, we were able to see all the video frames in full color. The report follows KJ, Brian, and Brandon's movement throughout the school for the entire day and records where they were. Not only is this further video evidence that the Bell boys were on campus when KJ went missing, we found something that the FBI clearly didn't want us to see. Let us put them side by side so you can see what we found. Here they are. Can you see something a little odd? Look closely. There appears to be a frame on both pages that matches. How could this be? What tipped us off is KJ's yellow folder. We were going through Brian's movements, and all of a sudden, KJ's folder appeared on screen. That's right. There's a frame on KJ's side and Brian's side that is identical. The boys are standing seemingly right next to each other in the hallway.
Did you see Kendrick that day?
No. I did not.
Seeing the alleged killer of KJ standing next to him in the hallway the day he died in school has sent chills down our spines. How did no one see this frame? How did the FBI let this go? Why did it take 6 years and an independent filmmaker to find this? These are all questions that may never go answered. But what we do know for sure is that we have more facts now than we ever had. And this case needs to be reopened and re-examined with a fine-tooth comb. After
And actually, Paulk findings, it's a third autopsy was performed by the Office of Armed Air Force Medical Examiner. The initial report, August 2014, August 25th. It listed the cause of death as position of fixture and the manner of death accidental. That is not true. Look at the third autopsy, people. Do your own research. The third autopsy was done by Dr. Anderson. It was the third autopsy contradicts the findings of the first autopsy, which determined the cause of death is position of fixture. The findings in the autopsy done by forensics that the reveal of blunt force trauma was found. And that contradicts everything Chef Paulk said about the third autopsy. Do your research, people. Do not believe anything that this sheriff department tell you. because it is known that they would not tell the truth about what happened. Inside the FBI report, it shows you where Kendrick and Bryant crossed paths. Now they are saying the Bells left an hour before Kendrick was last seen. First, they stated they left that morning. Then they left at noon. Now they left an hour before Kendrick was last seen. You can't keep changing the time of when they cross paths. You got an FBI report showing you when they cross paths with each other. And then it's just like a slap in the face. It's like the father Rick Bell said when he said in his deposition how many times that Kendrick was over to their house, which we know that was a lie. And then now the sheriff want to say that Kendrick and Bryant later did a project together, which is a bald-faced lie. Kendrick, after the fight on the bus, they did not have any communication with one another. And for this sheriff department to continuously tell lies, it's right here in its documents. Read the third autopsy report, people. Don't take my word for it. Read the third autopsy report. It doesn't state what he said. An Air Force armed medical examiner, I have no clue who in the hell he is talking about because I was there. Don't take Dr. Anderson's word for it. Sheriff Ashley Paulk, do not take Dr. Anderson's word for it. Look at the evidence. Something y'all have not done. Look at the evidence. Look at the findings. Don't take his word for it. Look at it. Something Dr. Kraft doesn't have any proof of what she said. The Justice Department says this. She have no proof of how Kendrick died. And it says in the Sheriff Ashley Paulk report, people, like I said, do your research. It said in the Sheriff Ashley Paulk report that the Kendrick feet were sticking well out the mat. Do your research. The young lady said she looked down inside the mat and seen Kendrick. Do your research, people, to show you that you cannot believe what the Sheriff Department say. He is a known liar. Just like the case, he allegedly covered up the findings what happened to Willie Jane Williams. The same thing that this Sheriff Department will do again and again if the people do not stand up and fight for what is right and make them do what's right. This is the Sheriff Department known to cover up. Known to cover up things. When you had Willie Jane Williams laying inside this jailhouse, dying, and this same sheriff allegedly covered up what happened to Willie Jane Williams, and the same thing that he come back and trying to do now. Sheriff Ashley Paulk, you didn't have anything to do with it as you say. But the lies you put on this paper made you just a part of the cover-up and the conspiracy of what's going on in my son's case. And I will fight as long as I have to uncover what exactly happened to Kendrick Johnson. People, do not take my word for it. Do your research.
So where do you guys go from here? What's your next step?
We keep pushing.
Does it concern you at all now that you're 9 years past the incident that memories may start to fade and evidence may slide away?
When you deal with this for so long, we learning more and more each day. We have students reaching out to us, speaking to us. They are grown now. They are starting to talk. And we have, if it takes 10 years, 11 years to find out the truth, we will be steadfast in finding out the truth of what happened to Kendrick. We will prove that this sheriff department once again lied. We talking about a child was murdered in their school, and they treat us like we are the ones who causing all kind of chaos and problems. Our son was murdered on their school, on their campus.
Again, who would you like to investigate it now?
Well,
or do you have anybody? Maybe you don't.
Some things I can't talk about at this time because I don't want to, and I want to. You got to get everything lined up perfectly so they can't dispute a damn thing you say. If you don't get it lined up perfectly, they will try and dispute every damn thing you say. We don't want just Kendrick case investigated now. We want every damn case that was at this jail. We want Willie James Williams. We want Stephon Egerton. We want everybody case investigated and the truth be told, because these people is not capable of telling the truth.
KJ, Kenneth, are you saying that you even want them to go back from 1994 to 2009 when the Atlanta Journal and Constitution found 105 violations that the Honorable Judge Hugh Lawson found in this jail? 31 jail deaths, and we were leading the state of Georgia in jail deaths. You want them to go back and investigate all those deaths as well?
Every death that occurred at this jail, even Willie James Williams, as he laid in there on that floor and died from one of their deputies allegedly beating him. And the same sheriff was in office at that time, Sheriff Ashley Paulk. You want to talk about that Dr. Anderson is a liar? We will pull the sheep off the wolves. And we will get everybody investigated. Every death ever happened here, we will get it investigated. I will see to that everything be investigated, what happened at this sheriff department, because they are not capable of telling the truth of what happened to our peoples.
Your child was murdered, and there's nothing else we can do about it. One thing we kept hearing over and over again was about this missing F.B.I. report regarding the security tape hard drive and the blacked out footage. So we looked into finding that report to see if we could locate it, and we did. However, the report was heavily redacted. But then we were able to find the unredacted F.B.I. report, and what we discovered blew us away. You see, in the redacted report, you can barely see any of the video frames. Most of the frames are blacked out, and the ones with KJ are barely recognizable. In the unredacted report, we were able to see all the video frames in full color. The report follows KJ, Brian, and Brandon's movement throughout the school for the entire day and records where they were. Not only is this further video evidence that the Bell Boys were on campus when KJ went missing, we found something that the F.B.I. clearly didn't want us to see. Let us put them side by side so you can see what we found. Here they are. Can you see something a little odd? Look closely. There appears to be a frame on both pages that matches. How could this be? What tipped us off is KJ's yellow folder. We were going through Brian's movements, and all of a sudden, KJ's folder appeared on screen. That's right. There's a frame on KJ's side and Brian's side that is identical. The boys are standing seemingly right next to each other in the hallway.
Did you see Kendrick that day?
No. I did not.
Seeing the alleged killer of KJ standing next to him in the hallway the day he died in school has sent chills down our spines. How did no one see this frame? How did the F.B.I. let this go? Why did it take 6 years and an independent filmmaker to find this? These are all questions that may never go answered. But what we do know for sure is that we have more facts now than we ever had. And this case needs to be reopened and re-examined with a fine-tooth comb. After
Hey, how y'all doing over there? This all I can do, you know. I couldn't go to the Lowndes County High School game the other night because the superintendent and the sheriff banned me from the school. So I can't go to the game. So I'm trying to catch me some damn fish. What you think about that, bro, Ryan? Once again, this is George Foster Rhines. Just been informed by John H. Robinson that the Lowndes County School Board Superintendent had just called him from his meeting with the superintendent this morning. And the Honorable Lowndes County Superintendent of Schools said to him that he did not issue any criminal trespass warrant against George Boston Rhines. And that the superintendent suggested that Mr. Robinson go to the sheriff's department and find out who issued such an order to ban me from the Lowndes County school grounds.
Could you have someone monitor it, please? I need a 27 through George, please.
So we're getting it with it. We don't have anybody to monitor at this time.
Could you call someone in to help us out? Zero 51 422 709 through Georgia. I didn't know you were in the Air Force.
Yeah, I'm retired Air Force. Why are you checking me out?
Do what?
Why are you checking me out?
Because you issued a criminal trespass.
For what?
Wes Taylor said nobody's allowed to be on the Board of Education.
Beg your pardon?
Mr. Taylor, the superintendent, said nobody's allowed to be on the Board of
So
Education.
you issued me what?
Criminal trespass. You can't be on the property.
Sir, I've never been told that.
I know, that's what I'm telling you now. Mr. Taylor just called and said it.
But why are you running my tag? That's one question.
No, I'm running your driver's license.
That's what I'm saying.
Any contact with anybody, you got to run the.
Okay. Oh, I got you. Okay,
yeah, just for
okay,
safety.
Okay, okay,
what happens if you're wanted guy? You wouldn't want me running someone.
I'm just asking a question. I appreciate it. I got you, bro.
You know what I'm explaining.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Okay.
I just got back from Atlanta, so I thought they said we're gonna be right here.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
Okay. All right. I got you.
Yeah.
I just got back from Atlanta. They called me out. I didn't know.
Class 3 Sierra.
3 Sierra.
27 returns to George Boston, Class C Battle at 741029.
Yeah. Come on. Where are y'all supposed to be at?
I don't know. Like I said, I just got met with a guy from the Justice Department in Atlanta. That's why I had to cancel that to come down here.
They're releasing the autopsy results, right?
No, I didn't know that.
Where are you? I'm telling you, they're fixing to do it right now.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I just got back.
Mr. Taylor said no criminal trespass on Board of Education or any property owned by Lowndes at all and everything. You remember me and you had contact back over at the football field.
I remember you very receptive. I remember people.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just do me that favor and everything, okay?
Now, what I will do now, is anybody posted outside out there to let people know where somebody won't come in here blind?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's
you know,
all.
I'm good about that stuff and everything.
Take care, G.
All
All right, y'all take care. All right, man. Moreover, Mr. Robinson asked for an appointment with Mr. West Taylor. And I think they got one set up for some time in the future. But I want the entire world to know that according to what Mr. Robertson said about Mr. West Taylor, he used the term that there's something in place. Dig it now. Something in place for Brother Rhymes, for George Boston Rhymes. He said he didn't issue no restrictions on me. But yet, I have it on tape. You have seen it. Bobby Worthy of the Justice League are aware of it. Witnesses that was protesting in front of Lowndes County High School witnessed a deputy sheriff ordering me to turn my vehicle around because there was a criminal trespass order to order me from the property. Report your story short form?
Yes, sir. And I'm glad to hear that. Because you know what? But us, the Daily Times, ain't gonna report this story.
I'm George Boston Rhymes, and I am in my 93rd day of being restricted to or from inner areas of Lowndes County school properties here in Valdosta and Lowndes County, Georgia.
Moreover, this deputy, beyond question, was not acting of himself, but he was acting on behalf of someone in great authority than him. And when he got word over the radio, I recorded it, and I have it for you, because Jesus said, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Now, I heard Robinson tell me with my own ears that Lowndes County School Superintendent Taylor said I didn't issue or call for a trespass to be issued on Rhymes. But I think the sheriff department got something in the works. In other words, apparently they are working on something to deal with the truth revealer and not the truth suppressor. Now, to the Justice Department of the United States of America, if something should happen to me, I blame you, Justice Department, because you have been knowing what's been going on in Valdosta, Georgia for over 20 years. And nothing has been done to my knowledge. And our children continues to fill the jails in Lowndes County. Make no mistake about it. I said it earlier.
God used Pharaoh to bring about his divine plan. God used dry bones in the valley to bring about his divine plan. God used King Herod, Cephas, and Pilate to bring about his divine plan for his people. God used Lester Maddox. God used Hitler. God used those men and women of the wicked ilk. But in the end, truth and right will always win. Whatever your plan is about George Boston Ryan, make no mistake about it, there are people that are prepared to act once you act. And that is a promise to you. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. We got to understand where the people leave off and God takes over. Now, you know, here in Valdosta and Lowndes County, you have never seen anything like this before. But you got to understand where man leaves off and God takes over. You play with God, but the God of my salvation say, stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherein I have set you free. Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherein I have set you free. And be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage. Somewhere I read, we fight not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities of power and spiritual wickedness in high places. Now your preacher don't preach like this because they did not get the message that I got when I was 15 years old. And what you see now is the fulfillment of divine revelation. And I'm here to tell you that the haven't been told. Look.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So, well, no, you know me, man. I'm a vibe, but I'll do exactly what you
go in this area, you will get arrested. Okay.
Okay. What can I do?
You can stay right here.
Okay. They got a public meeting down here, so you're telling me I can't go to the public meeting?
I do not know anything.
I got you. But there's a public meeting.
All I'm saying is,
I'm not going.
I've been told.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is that there's a public meeting down here, so you all telling me that I cannot go to a public meeting, and I haven't violated no law.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna do like you're saying, but
you have a criminal trespass warning for the area of Lowndes High School.
Okay, everybody, all of us do.
No,
well, I do.
As far as I know, it's just you.
Is that right?
As far as I know.
Okay, I don't want to hold up traffic. What you want me to do? What you want me to do, bro?
Go back out this way.
Okay, man, this is gonna be interesting in court. I have just been told that I have a criminal trespass warrant against me to stay off of Lowndes County school property, and I did not know that. My question is, who else have been issued a trespass warrant? I did not even know that I had been given a trespass warrant. This is getting very, very interesting at this time. This is George Boston Rhymes. This is Saturday morning. I was attempting to go into the Lowndes County Board of Education meeting, which should be a public meeting. I have never caused any disturbance whatsoever, and it is what it is. need you got a card?
No.
Okay, what's your name? Stephanie Thomas? Deputy Thomas. Okay, my attorney asked me is to request from you a copy of that warrant. My attorney, C.B. King. I just called my attorney. And I know you ain't got that.
You talking to the wrong person.
I understand, but I'm doing what he asked me to do.
But you do not, first of all, you do not have a warrant. Not a warrant.
Okay, well,
with a warrant, you would have been arrested.
Right, okay. Okay,
it's criminal
trespass. Warning, a criminal trespass warning.
And if you come on this premises,
right, I got you. Yeah, right.
But I cannot give you a copy of that. You talk to the sheriff about that or next person in charge.
Okay, so can you radio him now? Because it's very serious. I mean, I got
busy directing traffic.
Okay, well, I just want to
direct traffic. Somebody can get seriously hurt.
I understand. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you, man. I ain't got nothing against you, man. You know that. Appreciate it. Thank you. Rhymes, and I have just been informed by the sheriff's deputy that is behind me to my right. And I was informed that our trespass warrant has been issued against me here in Valdosta and Lowndes County, Georgia, not to enter any area of Lowndes County High School property. This came as a complete shock to me. Based upon what I just been told by this deputy, that I could have been arrested at any time. I was out there on property a few days ago, putting up a podium, walking on the property, not knowing that a warrant had been issued or banning me from Lowndes County High School here in the state of Georgia and in the United States of America. I have never violated any law here in Valdosta and Lowndes County that is recorded in record that I am aware of. And so I called the Justice League, Bobby Worthy, to inform him of what has happened. This is a continuous practice. This is about the fourth time that I've had problem with law enforcement. The Lowndes County Sheriff's Department under Sheriff Prime. We must make documentation that I, George Boston Rhymes, have violated no law in Lowndes County. Yet I have been issued a warrant not to go on Lowndes County tax-paying property, wherein there was a public meeting this morning. I was told that there was a Board of Education meeting on this area. The old field house, in the old field house. So I believe there's a great possibility that my constitutional rights have been denied. Again, I did not violate any law. Yet they say that a warrant have been issued banning me from any area of Lowndes County High School. If I had a relative, which I do have some people that graduate today, I can't even go to the graduation to little Terry because I have been banned from the school by a warrant that I knew absolutely nothing about. Thank God I didn't go to this graduation because I would have been arrested according to this deputy right here. Once again, I am George Boston Rhymes, and I do hope that C.B. King, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, the Department of Justice, Eric Holder, and others will understand what the people here in South Georgia are going through while they ignore us. If this is happening to me right now, if something happens to me, we must look at the Valdosta and Lowndes County Sheriff's Department. If anything happened to George Boston Rhymes, then I believe the Sheriff's Department should be held liable. I just called the number I have in my phone trying to contact Sheriff Bryan, and when I dialed that number, his wife answered the call, and so I do not want that call to be misconstrued in terms of maybe I'm harassing the sheriff's wife. I have Kendrick Johnson's father. What's your name?
Ralph Moss.
I had Ralph Moss and another guy that was here. When I called, there was no intimidation. I was just going to ask him about a copy of the trespass warning wherein they restricted me from the Lowndes County public school grounds. And that was the purpose of that call. Nothing more, nothing less. And once again, let me step over and get these people's name while we are here. This is Saturday. This is the day of the graduation. These people heard me when I called Sheriff Bryan thinking it was him, and his wife answered the phone. What's your name?
Kenneth Johnson.
You witnessed that, right?
Yes, I did.
What's your name?
Victor Whitlock.
You witnessed that, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, what did they just witness? They just witnessed that I called a number thinking it was Sheriff Bryan. So once again, if anybody said I was intimidating them, that was not intention. I've called him many times this number. It is what it is.
As I close this out, don't you all remember when I stood before Valdosta City Council on behalf of a white woman, wherein all her teeth were knocked out, wherein they sent her from the jail to South Georgia Medical Center? Her mother, a white lady, called me, not the elected officials, but they called me and asked me, George, where is my daughter? They say she's not in the jail. So I told her to check the hospitals in the surrounding areas. Come to find out, she was in ICU. The South Georgia Medical Center had been there for about 5 days. Mother didn't know where she was. She was on a $3,500 bond. But when they released her to the hospital, and when the hospital released her, she didn't even have to pay the fine. Valdosta in Lowndes County operates by their own set of laws. And now you're wondering what's going on. I'll tell you what's going on. In the northeast corner of Kemet, in Africa, the black man stepped out of the corner, starting off on his left foot. And he civilized the world, the arts, the sciences, mathematics. He gave that to the world. But they hid that from you. They hid that from me. So we were hit in the head in the East in Africa. We were brought a westerly course to the Western world in North America. We were buried in a shallow grave. After our loved ones marched around our grave for 3 days. And they asked a question, is there no help for the widow's son? Is there no help for the black man? And so God, out of his great love, he sent John Brown, a white man. He sent other great men, black, white, and others, who knew that oppressing God people was wrong. So he sent others. He sent Malcolm X. He sent Master Farad Muhammad, a white man, to teach Elijah Muhammad about creating businesses so the black man would have somewhere to work. Then he sent Booker T. Washington, George Washington Carver, Frederick Douglass, and many, many others trying to resurrect that dead man buried in that shallow grave. Nobody could resurrect that black man from the grave. He was considered 3/5 of a human being. But by God's superiority, by his wise, his wisdom, and his superior counseling, he showed the world. The Muslims tried to resurrect that black man, but when they reached down to grab him, the flesh cleaved from the bone. They couldn't get him up. Martin Luther King reached down in the grave, tried to resurrect that black man. Couldn't get him up. So they walked again around the grave. They say, "Oh Lord, my God, is there no help for God's darker colored son?" And so the struggle continues. They remove some of the dust off of the black man's grave, but for the most part, he's still in the grave. And because he have not been resurrected to stand up on the real square of God's word, he cannot enjoy the rights of free passage. And so he's restricted from going to the Lowndes County High School 2013 graduation ceremony. He is forbidden to go to the Board of Education meeting that took place at 7:30 as was publicized. Could have been a meeting that never took place. But one day, when God gets through doing his thing, not only will a black man rise from the dead level, white people, Japanese, Germans, everybody will be resurrected, because this game of life is not over yet. There are going to be men and women. They're going to have dreams and visions at night, like I had at 15. What I'm going through right now is only a small bit of what I've already lived. In the United States Armed Forces, that's another story to tell and must be told. I fought this fight in the military. I fought this fight in the business world when I had a business for 14 years. This is nothing new for me. But I've learned to wait on the salvation of God. And so I want to thank Mr. West Taylor, and I want to thank the Lowndes County Sheriff's Department for allowing God to use you to fulfill his divine purpose. And I assure you that it's going to be fulfilled. The only thing is the outcome. It's the outcome. It's not about me. It's not about me. If you're focusing on me, you're focusing on the wrong piece of flesh and blood. I am not your problem. Satan is your problem. Wickedness is your problem. If God is on my side, if righteousness is on my side, if truth lives within me, and it does, what can you do to truth? Jesus showed us what happens when truth goes to the cross, when truth is buried into a tomb. Jesus showed you what happens when King died. Truth showed you that God got others that are going to come back, and even the third and the fourth generation of those who work against God and work against those that God sent to help build a better America. And if we fail to hear the warning And we are calling and ordaining the destruction of this nation. It's not about me. Don't focus on me. You do yourself well. You do your children well. You do your community well by looking at the same one that Jesus allowed to carry him up to the pinnacle of the temple. See, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto God but by me. And wherever there's truth in the house, y'all, you cannot fight against truth. For truth is what truth does. And God have decreed that heaven and earth would pass away, but my word would stand forever. So it is written, so shall it be done. I'm going to say this to you. It might be a little while now before I cut another video, regardless of what happened concerning this so-called, they are working some on Brother Ryan. In other words, they say they're working on me. I want you to see, and I want you to notice how God gonna move. No, listen. This is nothing new for me. I have seen God work against everyone that came out after the righteous. It's just that simple. So you got to understand where man leaves off and where God takes over. Once again, I'm just a little brother. I've been doing this since 1975. And I ain't no ways tired yet. I want to say to all of my faithful listeners, I was on radio for many years. And if you know, they tried to buy me. But I'm a man that can't be bought. You know, it's strange that a person like myself, very few people in even the civil rights movement will say, Brother Ryan, we appreciate the work you're doing. They don't do that. And I'm glad they don't do that. Because I know what it's like to walk down the road of Jericho. I know what it's like to walk into the valley of dry bones. I know what it's like to go to a pool of a man that have been laying in a shallow grave for thousands of years. I know what it's like to go down to the pools of Shalom. I know what it's like when David said, my own familiar friend who ate from my table and supped with me and dined with me have lifted up his heels against me. So I understand that through my suffering, through my pain, through the threats on my life, I understand it, and I'm still smiling, and there is no hate in me. Because inside of this temple, inside of this lodge is the Holy of Holies. And you know it. You know it. And you know that I must walk alone. And Martin Luther King, I'm gonna close on this. If you read between the lines, as my third grade grandmother told me, she said, June, always read between the lines. Dr. King left a message. Many of you overlooked it, but God revealed the revelation to me. When Dr. King said in his messages, Ralph Abernathy is the best friend that I have in the world. And after he died, who came up against him? You see, God's servants are not ignorant. God first perfect the heart, but he know it all lies in the brain. Dr. King knew he didn't have no friends, and he gave us a warning to the righteous that come behind him to let us know that Jesus didn't go to the cross with a gang of people with him. Jesus went to the cross of Calvary alone. And when he rose from the dead, he rose alone. And when he ascended back to the Father, he went back alone. And he said he coming back. And when he come back, that's another story for another day.
Somebody tell me where did it go?
Who killed KJ? Come on. Who killed KJ? Who killed KJ? Thank you.
Today makes 11 months my son was found at Lowndes High School, rolled up in a mat. I was at that school the day they found my son. They treated us like nobody from day one. They're still treating us like nobody. But we declare that we're here to stay. We ain't going nowhere. They want us to leave, and when we leave, it's gonna be when they give us justice for my son.
Amen.
We want to thank everyone for coming out, supporting our family. But I want to know, they are known to use us and tear down our character. But Kendrick, that they can't do.
Amen.
Kendrick was at school where he was supposed to be.
Amen.
And out of 3,000 students, plus teachers, plus a school with resource officers at the school.
Yes.
How in the world can a student go missing during school and be murdered at school?
My.
As you all know, his organs was missing. But let me tell you a little bit about that. It's from the top of his head to his pelvis was missing. Yeah, the brain, his windpipe, his tongue, his heart, and everything else inside of his body was missing.
My Lord.
So I want the justice system to tell me, how is it that all of that is going on with his body, someone is not charged with something?
Amen.
It can't be.
My God, not be.
You mean to tell me, from the time he was last seen on that surveillance camera, within 15 or 20 minutes, he gonna cut off all of his fingernails till they start to bleed. He gonna scroll his photos around the gym. He gonna throw the shoe over inside the mat and say, I think I'll go over there and get it now. So how does one shoe inside the mat and the other one's away from the mat? And then he gets inside the mat, gets stuck, and then I guess the pair of shoes that he had on his feet, he kicks them off.
Makes no sense.
How can that be?
Because it's a lie.
It's a lie.
And other than that, the clothes that he had, what he dressed out in, how's that data missing? From the clothes he had on, from where they took him to make him to the crime lab, how come that they are missing? So out of all this stuff that's going on, why isn't someone arrested for something?
Amen. How long?
So is it the whole system in together? Because it ain't no way in the world that y'all don't see something. Thank you.
KJ! Who killed KJ? Come on! Who killed KJ? Who killed KJ? Thank you. KJ! All right.
Today makes 11 months my son was found at Lowndes High School, rolled up in a mat. I was at that school the day they found my son. They treated us like nobody from day one. They're still treating us like nobody. But we declare that we're here to stay. We ain't going nowhere. They want us to leave, and when we leave, it's gonna be when they give us justice for my son.
Amen.
We want to thank everyone for coming out, supporting our family. But
this is kvci.blogspot.com. Report your story, short form.
Yes, sir. And I'm glad to hear that. Because you know what? But us the Daily Times ain't gonna report this story.
I'm George Boston Rhines, and I am in my 93rd day of being restricted to or from inner areas of Lowndes County school properties here in Valdosta and Lowndes County, Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
well, no, you know me, man. I'm a vibe, but I'll do that.
If you go in this area, you will get arrested. Okay.
Okay. What can I tell?
You can stay right here.
Okay. They got a public meeting down here, so you're telling me I can't go to the public meeting?
I do not know anything.
I got you. But there's a public meeting.
I understand.
I'm not going.
I've been told.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is that there's a public meeting down here, so you all telling me that I cannot go to a public meeting.
And I'm glad to hear that, because you know what? But us the Daily Times ain't gonna report this story. You know why? Because us the Daily Times are tied in. Huh? No, they're not gonna report this.
I listened to our president, Donald Trump, as he contemplates sending 120,000 troops to the Middle East to start a war with the Iranians. My granduncle told me before I joined the armed forces in 1970 to be subject to the Vietnam War. He told me, don't do it. He told me that he served during the German war and that they treated him like a dog, and that when he returned back to the United States of America, the Germans that he fought on the battlefield came to America and was able to sit down in the restaurants and eat and use public facilities, but he was not permitted to do such. I ignored him, so I spent 20 years in the armed forces before I woke up to the reality of what he spoke to this black African man. So today I am qualified to say to black men, women, and their children, don't go, man. Don't go to fight this war under this current president. Number one, he has already told you how little he cares for you and even the history of your people. Moreover, if you are foolish enough, to go and fight a war for a nation that have not guaranteed you citizenship rights in North America after 465 years, then you must be a Satan yourself. If you're in the service, get out. Get out before it's too late. I'm sorely afraid, black man and black woman, based upon what we see in this nation today. If you go to war, I speak as a retired military veteran today, if you go to war, and if you are on the battlefield, you very well could be caught up and killed by friendly fire from a man in uniform just like you. Because this president has shown to you, black man, that they don't care about you. They have proven that to you. The news media have proven that to you. When you look at CNN, MSNBC, HLN, I'm asking you to look and see how many black anchors are giving their honest opinion on the world stage about what is happening in our world. Look at the cartoons that you put before and turn on before your little children and grandchildren? How many blacks do you see in the cartoons? The black cartoons who they have painted brown, look at their hair texture. Look at and listen to their dialect. They don't care about you, black man, black woman, and black children. Look how the police are shooting you down like wild dogs. And so if you go on the battlefield, you can expect these same white supremacists to shoot you down on the battlefield, and you are nothing more than a casualty of war. Now don't get me wrong, because they did a little bit of this in Vietnam. But now we have seen there is no need of the black man being deceived any longer. We know how they feel about us today. We believed in Jesus yesterday. We believed that thing was gonna get better. You know your mama, your granddaddy, your great-granddaddy told you that when this older head of white people die out, that this racism in this country would be gone. But now you see that they are dressing their little young babies up in not a white robe, but in a black robe, sitting on the bench in the courtroom, even to the Supreme Court judges and justices of the land. Now, somebody must speak the truth. If we can no longer depend on our religious black leaders to stand up as they stood up yesterday, then we must go to the streets ourselves. Fathers, mothers, yes, and even the little children, along with the few white right people that are willing to stand up with us. So I'm gonna close this out now. I just want you all to know, I'm gonna repeat. I'm sitting down, I was having a cup of coffee, and I was reading wherein President Trump, the worst president in the history of this nation, if not the world. I'm saying to you, as a retired black military veteran who served over 20 years in this white man's military, and I'm telling you, I caught enough hell under some of the other presidents. But I'm warning you, black man, I'm warning you, black woman, I'm warning you, mothers and your fathers, black parents, you can send your children off to war in this war, but you will regret they ever went. They're gonna kill you on the battlefield. Yeah, man, you're gonna die. You're gonna die on the battlefield if you follow this foolishness. And you already know how they feel about you. They have proven it on the streets of America. If we go and fight the Iranians, that is not your war, black man, black woman, and black children. That war belonged to Donald Trump. Therefore, since the people in this nation who love that man send all of those who supported him first, yes, I don't care if they're 70 years old, send them to fight his war. But you, black man, you, black woman, you, black children, stay home. Stay home in this war. We have fought for every war of this nation, including the Revolutionary War. We fought in the Civil War against our own liberation and freedom. But this is a war we should not partake in. Now, I'm closing. If you, let me repeat, I want you to understand this. If you don't understand nothing else that I've said, if you are black, and if you voted for Donald Trump, and if you will follow him to hell with gasoline draws on. Then you join them and you go to the front of this line and you fight for him and the elites of the 1% and 2%. But we who carry the ark of the covenant of this dispensation must not fight this war. We will sit this one out. Tell the government of America, no thank you. Ban us from Facebook if you want. Ban us from Instagram. Ban us from YouTube. And while you at it, ban us from the wars in foreign lands. We must say no to war. We must say no to bloodshed. We must say no, we won't pick up a damn gun to fight for a nation that will not guarantee our right to vote. And after we vote and elect blacks and those that are sympathetic to our needs, then they remove them from office. And have you noticed that this white man don't even pay income taxes? How many of your people, if they had not paid income taxes, would they be free? Would they be the president of the United States? If President Barack Obama had not paid his taxes, do you think IRS would go on a vacation and lay on the beach down in Florida and then go to Iran or Iraq and kiss those people while he do that? We had better wake up, y'all. We had better wake up. So I'm going to say again, if you're black, don't go to war under this president, because you already know how he feel about you. And you know how those feel about you who voted for him. I'm talking about black people too. And so I'm saying to you, wake up, wake up, wake up. It's time now. See, we had an excuse yesterday. We didn't know no better yesterday. We were denied, as black folk, we were denied the right to defend ourselves. We were denied the right to be a full-fledged human being. Oh yes, you can say I'm lying if you want to. I've studied the books. Yesterday you told me not to study. Yesterday when I was younger, all I did was read the Bible and so concerned about everything, I didn't give a damn about nothing else. All I wanted to do to go to heaven, so I could sit down with Jesus and Moses and the rest of them. But when I failed on my way to the bus station, I picked up me some books. I started talking to people outside of my denomination, and I greased the basement of my head, and it opened the third eye, the pineal gland. Google the pineal gland, and when you see the pineal gland on the Pope, on the Vatican building, understand what that pineal gland is, and understand why calcium is. Mike, let me get out of here. Look, y'all have a nice day. Again, if you're black, say no to this president. Don't go to fight for this man, because I'm telling you, man, they're gonna kill you on the battlefield. These people, when you get out there on that battlefield, and those people from America, they don't care nothing about you, see. And when you get out there, they're going to turn the gun on you, because you the real enemy, man. You the real enemy. These people going to see you as the enemy. If a Republican can call his daddy a fool, stupid, and crazy because he's a Democrat, and if a Democrat got a daughter in college and she's a Republican, he called her a damn fool, and she crazy as hell because she don't think like him. Don't you know something's crazy in this country? But this is what they are saying. I watch grown men talk about Democrats crazy as hell, and his mama is a Democrat. Now, how more silly can you get? I'm telling y'all again, if you go fight this war, then you must be a Satan yourself. Now, y'all have a nice day. May God bless you. Most people don't want people to talk like this, and that's why people don't come out anymore and say what's on their mind. You don't appreciate the truth speakers when they come to you. See, God sent Jesus to his people, and the Bible says he was rejected by his own people. So when somebody come out and try to give you the truth, you reject them. And not only reject them, you even will murder them with your tongue, and you will never support them. And this is how little Donald Trumps are born. They are born because we sit back and play these foolish games, even in church. Talking about I'm a Muslim, I'm a Christian, I'm a Hindu, and I'm a you. But what do you stand up for, man? Do you think God is happy
with all this going on in our world, and all you can do is go to a church building on Sunday and clap your hand and holler halle fooly, halle booyah, and halle dooyah, and talk about how much tithe money you pay, and tell everybody you know you're going to heaven. And if it was your time to go to heaven, you wouldn't know which way to go. No, you wouldn't know where to go. All these people talking about I want to go to heaven. You don't even know which way to go to heaven, man. I don't want to go to heaven. If there's a place called heaven, I want somebody to show me how to get there who know. Because if you don't know, you may end up following somebody like Jim Jones and F.B.I. in Guyana, thinking you're on your way to heaven. You end up burning in hell, and you don't know it till your drawers done burned up.
Does it concern you at all now that you're 9 years past the incident that memories may start to fade and evidence may slide away?
When you deal with this for so long, we learning more and more each day. We have students reaching out to us, speaking to us. They are grown now. They are starting to talk. And we have, if it takes 10 years, 11 years to find out the truth, we will be steadfast in finding out the truth of what happened to Kendrick. We will prove that this sheriff department once again lied. We talking about a child was murdered in their school, and they treat us like we are the ones who causing all kind of chaos and problems. Our son was murdered on their school, on their campus.
Again, who would you like to investigate it now?
Well,
or do you have anybody? Maybe you don't.
Some things I can't talk about at this time because I don't want to, and I want to. You got to get everything lined up perfectly so they can't dispute a damn thing you say. If you don't get it lined up perfectly, they will try and dispute every damn thing you say. We don't want just Kendrick case investigated now. We want every damn case that was at this jail. We want Willie James Williams. We want Stephon Egerton. We want everybody's case investigated and the truth be told, because these people is not capable of telling the truth.